Welcome in. Welcome to the studio at Two Girls Treasure. Welcome to Mixology Monday. I hope you're doing well. It's a little cool this morning. We're still in spring in South Carolina, but boy, when summer hits, it's going to be strong. So if you're not from around here and you live here now, brace yourselves. It's going to be a strong one. I hope everyone's doing really well this morning. I'm puttering around. I was playing before we went live, so it took me just a few extra minutes to get settled and situated, but we are getting ready to make this headboard match this chest of drawers. You haven't seen it? Let me show you. Ooh, look. It really reminds me of the houses in Poland in the village where the flowers are painted all over the sides of the house. I think that's lovely. I don't think Scott would let me do it, but I think it's a lovely idea. And we do it all the time around town, like there's murals on buildings. Well, now we have it on a chest of drawers, and we're going to match this headboard so that someone has an absolutely beautiful cottage bedroom suit. I think it's going to look really fantastic. So let's get some color combination together. Let's tone this blue down just a little bit. This is Hydrangea Kiss. We need to blend it down with our Morning Mist. We need to get some of our Fresh Sage Custom Mix in here. And do we want castings here, or do we only want transfers? Boy, that's a tough one, but I really feel like this needs to be castings in order to match the chest of drawers and bring it all together. So let's get started, and as we move forward, we could decide, but I really think it needs to be castings. Like, I'm almost set on the fact that it needs to be castings, so much so, let me grab that mold set. They're right here, both of them, because we used trimmings. This is trimmings 4, and this is Juliet. And this is what we used on the chest of drawers, on each drawer. And it's a little large for here, but I believe we can do the same thing, and we can shape the casting to the shape of this centerpiece. I really believe it needs to match the chest of drawers. So right here needs to be our casting. Let's break that out because I just picked this up and I was thrilled to move it around. Let's get this out before we start colorizing anything. That way, while our casting is curing, well, we can be painting. So here's our resin. Looking for my gloves because I do like to wear my gloves when I'm casting. Resin can get so messy. Now, let's see. Gloves on. And we want to cast out to about right here. So we can leave this off. And we'll cut some of this off as well. I think that we can do this just fine. Let's pour a nice light layer in first. And I need my popsicle stick. All right, 30 mils. We are not going to try to outpour the resin because ultimately you don't pour when you try to pour too much at one time. You end up dumping. And I'm not interested in dumping resin today because then you overspill and it just makes a mess. All right. 30 mils and 30 mils, part A, part B, side A, side B, same thing. Mix it well. It will turn white. It will turn clear. And at that point is when you pour. Good morning. How are you? You're going to go back in a little while. Check out those videos. And a lot of the work we do off camera because we can't do all of this on. It would be nearly impossible. I did watch a really cool flipper video yesterday, and it was cool to see someone actually admit that it takes time to do the work. A flipper who acknowledged that it takes more than a day, and I think what he said was it actually took him over a week, and he called off doing any more work because he needed to get it finished. It takes a lot of time to do what we do. It does not come easy sometimes. You saw that I had problems with a drawer. Well, guess what? It's not completely corrected. So I still have work to do. All right, I'm going to bring this rose in on this end. And I'm going to bring this rose in on this end. And this leaf right here. I might take my stick. Let me scrape the goodie out of the bottom here. There's always just that little left over, and I've got a little rosebud right here I want to fill in. And where I have already poured, I'm going to make sure we're to the edges. I like the detail of the edges. Let's make sure where we want the resin to cure up, we have it. It's a shallow pour. What does that mean? It means I recognize this takes 130 milliliters of product to fill the entire cavity full. I use 60 mils only because I want a little bit flatter finish to my casting. So I pour it where I want it, spread it where it needs to fill in, and we're going to let that cure. It's already starting, and it's not going to be as full and thick as you would normally cast this set. And it's okay. You can shallow cast your mold sets. It doesn't always have to be completely full. And I think this is the only piece we're going to need on this headboard. So, presto magico, we'll put the big guns away for right now. We'll clean up our resin with an alcohol wipe because these are the bomb.com to have in the studio. God really graced us when these went on sale and we got them. We've used them for so much. If you have not seen our post, our one little post with the UPS man showing up, if you have not seen the brand new Iron Orchid Designs teasers that started, good morning. Well, guess what? The summer collection's coming. Yes, I already have it. Yes, it is spectacular. Yes, I have already started playing with it. And no, I can't show you yet. But I believe we will have a release date soon. And I'm excited to share that with you. So stay tuned for the release date of the Iron Orchid Designs Summer 2026 collection. You are going to love it. Love it. There are a lot of products I did not get to play with yet, and I'm trying to figure out how to work them into my day. There's a lot happening. All right. Clean up the table because resin leaves a residue, and we don't need that. I've cleaned the cups. I'm going to let this one dry, and we'll just pull the dry out. I love doing that. It's very satisfying. And table's clean. Dun, dun, dun. Painted something else the other day before I left. Got the paint on the table. Look at that alcohol wipe. Take that paint right off the table. Now, this is just an old scrappy engineered wood table and chairs from the 80s. But I'll tell you what, it makes a great work table. All right, resin's poured. Gloves are off. I don't mind getting paint on my hands. It's the resin that I don't want all over me. Coffee break. Coffee break, y'all. I thought about the stripes that we have on the chest of drawers and how to incorporate those into this headboard. And I'm not going to stripe the headboard, although it would be pretty cool. We could stripe this top edge, but I feel like that would be a little excessive. And I do a lot of extra work, so I thought maybe that's not a great idea. Plus, this is a pretty lengthy headboard. I don't know that I want to tape all that off. I think we can make this work without doing that. Get the resin off. I don't want that all over my paintbrushes because it will ruin my paintbrushes. And this is curing up real nicely. So what we really want to do is just, without taping all that off, and we could just tape the center section right there. That would be cute. But we want to incorporate the colors and the theme and the whimsy, if you will, of that chest of drawers into this headboard. We could, let's see what this would look like. We need a placeholder. And that way our stripes are equal as we go down. And I'm not lazy, but I'm not going to get out a tape measure. I might measure in between and make sure that I've got the top and bottom straight, but I'm not going to go so far as to break out the tape measure. It's not that serious. I think we can do it without measuring every single. I think I did it on the chest of drawers. You know what? I did. It is that serious. Oh, you know. I should, shouldn't I? If I did it there, I should do it here. Pulled my paint. I sure did. Look at that. Got a big old bare spot right there right now. And that's God telling me I know better and I should measure. Don't just say, do what you know. Do what you're supposed to do. I'll measure as soon as I line the tape. Make sure my tops and my bottoms are even. There we go. As I go across the top, it tips the tape in that curve. I guess it's just Monday morning and I'm feeling a little sassy. Oh yeah, you know what? This is the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. So cute. I really love stripes. And I don't get to do them often enough. It is tedious, as you can see. It's not always just pop them on, pop them off. You do have to take some time to make this work well. It's not a slap-on paint job. It is a really defined process. And you got to be careful with it. If you're not careful with it, well, it won't look good. Now, I think by the time we put this last stripe in, yeah, we'll be right where we are on both sides. So we did that nice. Let's get some stripes on here, y'all. First things first, we're going to put some sealant on this. Why? Well, that helps prevent the paint from bleeding underneath your tape. I know that sounds crazy, but it's so true. So let's do this. I've got my Miracle Sponge out. I have my Tough Top. This is just semi-gloss. And no, I'm not trying to gloss up what I'm working on, but you know what? You're not really doing anything more than sealing over the tape edges so that once you start painting, let's get those drips out of there. Once you start painting, it won't bleed underneath your tape. Now, I'm not the first one to do this. I'm not even the one who created this methodology. But after studying several other makers and looking at their successful projects, I'm here for the success of my project. Now I'm going to make sure my top edge is straight across so that it's the same distance in between my stripes, and my stripes are straight even as they make that turn across the top. And I'm not above making adjustments as we move forward. And I can see where we'll need to. You know what? It's not going to be perfect at first. I'm not looking for perfection in what I do. I'm looking for I'm looking for goodness. I'm looking for that awesome goodness that we get when we dream what we're doing and when we reach for a little bit more than just a plain old paint job. Oh, thank you. You know what? It's just a beautiful blend that we do on top of each other. Have you seen this sage and cream? It is, well, let me show you. It's just all yummy spring green and it makes me really happy. I love these paintbrushes. So we're just going to smush this around a little bit to mix it up. Tamp some of that off. Let's make some stripes, y'all. Now, where I pulled the paint, I'm going to smush a little bit extra paint in that spot. That way it'll compensate for the difference in the height. Remember, when you're adding material, you're adding material. When you rip material off with the tape, well, you're going to have a low spot. And if you have a low spot, you need to compensate for it. And the best way to compensate for that is just to add a little bit more material to that spot, let it dry, make sure it's leveled out. If you need to add some more, go ahead and add some more. It's paint, y'all. It's paint. It's not a life-altering choice. It can be. It can be a decor-altering choice. Let's go that way with it. But it can make all the difference in your finish if you go ahead and just add a little bit more material to that spot and compensate from where I ripped off the paint. I mean, I just pulled it straight off. That's going to look so good. Ta-da! All right, now we have to let that dry. And I was trying to decide how we were going to incorporate the spindles to make them coordinate with the chest. And I looked back on a project that we did recently for a growing hobby where we recreated a table for them and we based it in a darker color, which was our Cloverfield green, and then we brushed over the top of that with eucalyptus or fresh sage and gave it this beautiful, uh, rich, dark green color underneath that light. And as I looked back at that image, I thought, we can do that here too. What we need to do right now is our little hydrangea kiss and morning mist blend. After all, it is Mixology Monday. So I'm going to take another brush and I'm going to mist these bristles because I want them nice and supple to do this blend. We're going to start with our morning mist. No, take that back. We're going to start with our hydrangea kiss. So let me scooch this down and we'll start on this side. We already have a good base coat of hydrangea kiss on here. We're going to stay away from our stripes. We can move this in as that paint dries. And I could turn the fan on, but y'all, it's a little chilly this morning. So we're just going to let it dry. It won't take long. All right, now I'm going to take my mister and I'm going to give it just a little spritzer. And we're going to go into now we're going into our morning mist. Just a touch, and let's blend it out. Just move the colors together. It just lightens that hydrangea kiss up enough. Morning Mist is a stunning light blue, but sometimes it's a little too light. I want a little bit richer tone here. So blending these two together on the furniture was a really great choice. Also, there are a couple of places on the chest of drawers I noticed where I did my blend, where some of the hydrangea kiss is a little stronger and some of the morning mist is a little stronger, and it just gives this variegated finish that you would not get if you mix the colors together. Now, you can mix them together if you want to. I like this. It's a lot more fun, and it's kind of the lazy way to get it done. I don't mind. You can call me lazy about it if you want to. But I did like the way it gave me a variegated finish. And so, yeah, that's the way we're going to roll forward with this. I love, love the combination of these two colors. Now, if we're going to make it work the way we did on the chest, we're going to have to grab our green. Now, we're not going to overwhelm these two blues, but we do need to incorporate our green. And since we have this awesome carving up here, we're going to use that as our starting point. And we're just simply going to bring some of that green into our blues, a little bit there. I'm going to take another brush, mist those bristles, and we're just going to blend that green into our blues, just so there's that tonal difference, just like we did on the chest of drawers. And as long as my cheap chip brush does not shed all over my paint, this will be a beautiful finish. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to pull it down so that the color goes from top to bottom. And then I'm just going to smooth that so that my paint strokes are smooth and even, so that as that dries, it'll lay down in the direction where I put it, and we'll have a beautiful, smooth, flat finish. I painted something last week, and my precious husband Scott said, "Look at that paint just lay down." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Rethunk Chunk paint. It's the best. It does that." This looks fantastic. And this is exactly how we accomplished our color combination on the chest of drawers. So we're doing the right things here. This is still tacky, so we're going to leave it alone. And let's move into this bottom section, the spindles. We're just going to lay our color in right there. So I add a little bit of water to my hydrangea kiss. This one I broke the lid for like almost immediately upon opening this container. So it's been living with my press and seal on it for a long time. So it's a little goopy. All I do is just keep stirring it and adding more water to it. This is a water-based paint, so you can add water to it. It does not diminish the integrity of your color or the uh, coverage of the product. And you know what? If you want to use the product as a stain rather than a paint, well, then you're going to water it down anyway. And guess what? It works phenomenally well. Try it sometime. But right now, we're just watering it so that it blends well. We've got the coverage. We're going for that blend, that Mixology blend. There we go. We're going to touch the corners, make sure we don't have any ridges or edges, and we will swap colors. There we go. Ready, set. Let's move this in. Let's give it a little spritzer. That helps the paint move together, keeps it nice and smooth. It glides like that. And then you have that beautiful mid-tone that we were able to achieve by blending our Hydrangea Kiss and our Morning Mist. I'm loving it. All right, and let's go ahead and just touch on these spindles because our green is still tacky. Don't stick your fingers in the paint. Use the back of your hand. Use the back of your hand. If you have missed any of last week's tutorials, guess what? YouTube does not delete them, which is why we're live on YouTube instead of Facebook. So I generally tend to post the still photos and maybe a story, maybe a little short reel on Facebook because that's what Facebook likes. But to see the real movement of the process, make sure you go back and watch those tutorials. It starts with Mixology Mondays, each week, Monday through Thursday. And once we finish this project today, we have a really special project that we took on for one of our customers, and we are going to build something. We're going to build a lamp for her. And I think I have enough of the parts around here to do exactly what we need. And she's going to have an awesome project piece to work forward from. We're just going to start the engineering process for her. I think that's a super, super cool honor. I do not like to slap paint around on spindles, y'all. Takes a little bit more time to just brush them individually, but the first time you slap paint and you get it on something that you did not want paint on will be the last time you slap spindles. I don't do it anymore because guess what I did? I got paint on something I really did not intend to get it on, and it was a mess. It was terrible to clean up. Not what I want to do again. I've got a run right here I need to catch in my green because we don't like runs. Drips and runs and ridges need to be fixed up. And yeah, that means this is going to take another minute or two to dry. It's okay. That can dry. We have a lot of area we need to be covering. So we're going to, I reckon, I really need to do the post, but I feel like I need to leave the post alone until I get the body finished. So we're going to scooch this down. There we go. And I'll scooch back so you can see this side as well. Little bit of mist. Little bit of Hydrangea Kiss. Check your ridges and your edges when you're covering surfaces that are curved. Hard edges, make sure you didn't deposit paint substance that's going to cause a drip or a run or that heinous ridge. Check your ridges to make sure that you don't have paint deposits in places where it's going to create a weak point and someone like me is going to come behind me and peel that paint because it shouldn't be there. So check your ridges and your edges as you're moving along. Just like we did here with the green, there was a big blob. If it means that your paint takes a little bit longer to dry, take that time. When you're doing something special, you want to make sure your end result is special. Just take a minute to check your ridges and your edges. That's all. That looks great. All right, back to the hydrangea. Let's get this bottom panel and we'll come on over into the center on this pass. Because we stopped just about there. Great time to check and make sure you don't have any paintbrush hairs or foreign objects in the paint. Check it as you're going. Unless you're in like some kind of hermetically sealed paint booth, you're going to get little pieces of trash. Even the best paintbrushes on the market still shed hair because you know what? They're wrapped inside these metal wrappers and sometimes the hairs fall out. And they fall out at the least opportune time, but if you don't get it out and it dries in there, well, once it's dry and it's in there and you get it out, it looks terrible. I'm glad my shoes are Hydrangea Kiss. When you drop your paintbrush on the floor, little things like that. There we go. Loving it. Let's get into our morning mist. I'm going to get a little bit more because we're going across a little bit larger area. Little spritzer on the surface. And then some nice long brush strokes. Move that morning mist into your Hydrangea Kiss and just blend it out. And sometimes when you're blending a large surface, don't just go side to side to blend it. Take it top to bottom and then run your lines side to side or in whatever direction you are going. That way, once your paint starts drying, it lays down. You have a nice, smooth finish because this paint will level out. It is self-leveling. It does the job, but you have to let it. Don't overwork it. Just get it on there, get it smoothed out, and leave it alone. If you've got a little area to work with, we'll blend that over. Just blend it over. Bam. There. And that problem's solved. I love it. We've got such a great look going on here. I'm going to go ahead and cover this. Not sure that I put the Hydrangea Kiss on there. So, you know what? Let's grab a little bit and let's blend this one so that it matches. Looking good. All right, now let's check our stripes. You don't want to let the paint dry completely before you pull the tape. And we'll have to do some work over that top ridge, that top edge, only because it's curved. It's going to be a problem. It's not anything we can't overcome. It just means we're going to chase paint a little bit before we get that correct. Not a big deal. This entire project, we've chased paint, not because we didn't know what we were doing, but because There's so many layers to this project. It wasn't simple. It wasn't just a one color paint over. It's pretty much an art piece. And I swear it really looks like those houses in Poland. The more I look at it, the happier it makes me. All right, now, this is not my low-tack tape. So as I have pulled the tape has pulled paint. Oh, it's frustrating. But you know what? I'd rather it pull paint right now so that I know where my weak point is, so that I have the opportunity to correct the problem before I put this for sale. Once I correct the problem solved. Well, how do you correct that problem when your tape is pulling your paint off your surface? Why would that happen? Well, a couple of things. It's been here all weekend, so I know it's dry, but sometimes when you put tape on before the paint is dry really well or has had the time to cure, the tape will pull the paint up, especially if it's not the low-tack tape. I'm a fan of frog tape. It does a better job than the blue tape, but the blue tape costs less and we're pinching pennies these days. So, what are we going to do to prevent this from happening again? The first thing is, I might not have prepped properly. Do you know me? I might have skipped that step. I did clean this really well. It was painted white before we started. Was that my paint? I don't think so. I don't think so. So what may have happened was I went over another paint and the paint was just not going to allow my paint to bond to it. That's a reality. And sometimes when you're mixing your color paint over another brand color paint, they're really not compatible. What should I have done? Well, when I started and I prepped it, I probably should have taken my green Scotch-Brite pad and I probably should have prepped with my Scotch-Brite. If you're going over somebody else's material, spray that prep on, grab your Scotch-Brite, scuff it. Spray it again, wipe it clean. That's usually where you correct that deficit. And you know what? I didn't do that. So, my fault, my problem. How do we fix this? Well, we're going to let this dry completely today. Once I do, I'm going to come back in these areas and I'm going to do the same thing I did when I pulled the paint where I laid down the green. And I'm going to lay my tape back in. I'm going to paint back over it with my blend of Hydrangea Kiss and Morning Mist, and then I'm going to pull the tape and let that dry completely. I'm probably going to go in and put another coat of sealer on before I re-tape it. Why am I going to do that? Because whatever paint brand is underneath mine, I need to seal with my sealer so that my paint has something to bind to. You're going to run into problems when you're flipping vintage furniture. The trick is learn how to correct those deficits, and it's not always you. Sometimes it's the surface that you're going to. Give yourself that grace. Learn how to correct the problems. Watch some more tutorials. Pick up the phone and call your retailer and say, hey, this is a problem for me. What do I do to fix it? And you know what we're going to do? We're going to walk you through those steps, because everything we do and everything you do, we want to be a great success for you and a great success for us, because that way we have lovely furniture to sell and stunning tutorials to share. I think we have a guest in the store right now, and it's 9:40 something. I'm late. Yes, but I've had a great time with you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Diane Pruitt. We're in the studio for Mixology Monday, and I'm looking forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow. Fingers crossed we'll start on a whole new project. Have a beautiful day. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. Bye now.